Welcome to the Red Letters Podcast. In this podcast, we will explore topics that can be life-transforming while delivering a message of hope.
Hey, this is Mary. Welcome and thank you for joining us. So New Year's resolutions, I'm not sure I have ever actually done one or actually stuck with one.
I think sticking to them is
that's the challenge, right? Yeah. For me, it was a couple of years ago, I said I'm going to eat healthier. And what I mean by that is like, don't eat so much bread, add more greens, because, you know, when you hit the big 4, that was a while back. They say you have to be careful what you eat and all this good stuff. So for me, it was that. And I actually enjoyed it because I did add more things to my diet that I didn't before because I didn't think I liked vegetables. So then that was mine. I stuck with it because almost 8 years later, I'm still eating vegetables. So I think I like it. I'm gonna think about something. Yeah. Ida, you said you weren't big on resolutions. Mm-mm. Why?
Because I always fail at them.
Oh.
I never commit to, I commit to them at that moment, but then when the time comes, I never follow through.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that. Mm-hmm. I don't follow through. And then also the saying that my mom would always tell me is like, why wait when you can do it now? Mm-hmm. You know, don't wait till the last minute. Do it now if you can do it now. Yeah. And honestly, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a scripture that actually says you're a fool if you think tomorrow will come. So we don't know if tomorrow will come. It's really in God's hands. So why wait till tomorrow when you can do it right now?
Mm. Regarding the New Year's resolution, would you say that you don't believe in them or they just didn't work for you?
I think honestly, to be realistic, I think it's not worth doing it. I mean, honestly, and it goes back to, again, you know, if you can do it now, why wait, you know, because you're setting yourself up to fail most of the time. Most people say, I'm going to start my diet in the New Year's, but don't follow through. And then there's people who do, and there's very few that do follow through, you know? So to me, it's like, I like to take one day at a time and focus on today. Yeah. And if I can do it today, then I'll start today. Yeah. And, you know, and try to get out of that habit because once I read that, I was like, you know what, it's so true. You know, what if you don't have tomorrow to do what you can do today? Right. You know, and if there's something that you have a desire to do, start doing it today, plan it today, start thinking about it today. Don't wait till tomorrow, you know?
I like that. And then also in that same note, Ida, it would be, I start today, but then tomorrow's a fresh day and I'm going to continue it tomorrow.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. So it's don't wait till that new year start today. And then tomorrow when you get up, continue it. And then the next day and then the next day. Because we don't, like you said, we don't know how many days we have, but why not start today and then just continue this healthy or this new culture of life, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, I would, reflecting on New Year's resolutions, because I don't always make them, but I can't say that I've committed or stayed committed to the ones that I have made. But I struggle saying that you don't need one. And why I say that's because you could look at those verses of the Bible and say, okay, that's how it is. But without a vision, people perish. So you could look at the other side. And that's why hold on real quick. Why I'm saying that's because some people will have a New Year's resolution. Some people will do that and or a dream board of what their upcoming year goals are. Right. So I think by having something to pursue, although tomorrow is not promised, is a healthier way to live, because otherwise, they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yeah. So you could look at things in both sides of the coins, but I think that if we make New Year's resolutions and we don't finish the commitment of it, it's really a character issue on our part, and we're blaming the New Year's resolution of not working.
Instead of not.
You're 100% right, but at the same time, we're 100% right because
I love it.
It does technically, you are starting with the vision. The thought is starting with the vision. So for example, if what you can do today, it starts with the vision. It starts with the thought. So today could be the thought, today could be the beginning of the vision. Right. And if tomorrow we comes, we follow through, you know, and we look forward to that, right? So to me, it's we're both right.
Yeah. It's just
Yes.
where you want to fit in the spectrum. And why I say that's because there's I forgot what the Jews call their New Year's. A lot of times when the New Year comes, debts are forgiven. It's you get a fresh start.
Ooh, I would love that.
Yeah. So there and then the year of Jubilee. There's certain things that happen in the Jewish culture where it helps them to maybe things didn't work out so great or the year end wasn't so great. Let me look at this upcoming new chapter to move forward. So that's why I think that New Year's resolutions, I'm not saying everybody has to have them. I'm not saying everybody has to have a dream board of what their upcoming year looks like. But I think that if let's just say you have a dream board and you have 10 things that you want to try to accomplish in this upcoming year. If you accomplish 3 or 4 of them, is it a win-win? I believe so.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you wouldn't have had the dream board, you would not have even thought about those for the most part. But if you have this constant reminder of a picture that you're trying to pursue in this one department of your life, and you're chasing those 10 things and you're accomplishing a few of them, you're better off than you were the year before.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not hitting the 100%. Hey, I was able to knock out all 10 things because I had a dream board for this year and we hit some of them, but we didn't hit other ones. But I think seeing those pictures daily, did something, and you could look at it as, okay, I failed in these ones. Yeah, but what did you accomplish?
What did you accomplish?
That's what I think is a healthier perspective to look at.
Yeah. Well, with me, I think, and the thing that comes to me is house cleaning.
Oh.
Okay. So let's say if today, I know it's crazy, but I'm using this as an example. Today I have to clean my house, right? Well, he would always tell me, Ida, you're stressing yourself out. Just focus on this day. You're going to focus on the bedroom. Tomorrow you do the bathroom and so on and so on. Well, with me, I can't do that. I have to do everything. I have to clean the rooms. I have to clean the kitchen. I have to clean everything because if I'm going to walk through each of those rooms today, then I need to have them clean so that when I finally can, at the end of my cleaning, I'll take a shower and I'll sit down in the living room and I will enjoy the clean house.
The whole house, yeah.
The whole house. And I feel like if I clean the room today, tomorrow my room's going to be dirty. And that's my mentality. So with the dream board for me, it would frustrate me if I can't accomplish what's on there. So I think everybody's different on how they deal and handle with things. But for me, I like to do one thing at a time and do it perfect or do it right. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion.
Well, and that's
Where's the
good.
referee?
I don't like you said earlier, there's not a right or wrong way. But I'm glad that you mentioned vision boards, Tony, because I encourage them. We can just put house cleaning. One thing, we're going to do this. But I really encourage dream boards or vision boards, as well as I encourage goals, like setting goals. You guys know I've said this before and I'll say it again, especially for this, in case somebody else out there is listening. A ship in a bay, you can start up the ship. What's going to happen if it has no guide? So the ship's going to go around. It's either going to sink or crash into something. But if you give it a guide, meaning a captain, it's going to meet its destination.
That's
9
good.
times out of 10, it's going to meet its destination if there's not a storm or whatever. And I believe it's the same principle applies to goals. If we don't have anything written down, then where are you going? And I've seen this in the Bible. I just can't quote it right now because it did say, we're just wondering. But if you have it clear, and that's in Habakkuk 2:2. I was looking it up because I know I have it written down at home. And it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets and then run with it. So in another version says, write the vision, write the plan and make it bold so you can see it every day. And I really like that because I think for me, I need to see something. Even if I haven't accomplished it, even if it didn't get accomplished that year, for me, it's like, I still have something that I have to work on. Time didn't stop because I stopped. Time didn't stop because of situations. It's still going. So I'm still thriving to accomplish that goal or whatever I put on that vision board. That being said, I do write the goals. I don't do the vision board as much, but I really like the idea of vision boards. And for this year, I'm going to have the family sit down and we're probably going to do a vision board just to see, just because I like you said earlier, Ida, the thought, it begins with the thought. What do we want? For me, it's been a couple of years. I said, I want financial freedom. And what does that mean? That means I want to learn how to budget. I want to learn how to manage money. I want to learn, anything that encompasses not being in debt. So that's my vision board. And I'm actually going to work on that. Like, I really want it because I want to be seeing it every day just to help me work towards it,
Okay, so I read on Google and it said that they're projecting that 91% of us won't achieve our New Year's goals. And they said
that we will not?
Yeah, that we won't. And they said in 2021, it says, in fact, of the 41% of Americans who made New Year's resolutions, only 9% were successful in keeping it.
But I think I believe that, but I would love to see the statistics of why. Because I believe a lot of people make unrealistic goals. I'm sorry, resolutions. Like, for example, someone who has never climbed this mountain. What is it? Cowles Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone who has never climbed that mountain. I'm using myself for example. You say, you know what, I'm going to go climb it. The whole week, every day for a week, I'm going to go climb it. No, if you guys have ever gone, you can get less than halfway up when you're like, okay, I think I'm done. I'm done for the whole, for my life.
You saw me, huh?
Yeah. Have you tried it?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me.
Yes. No, see, and people make a resolution for that, but it's like, have we been working at something to try to accomplish that? It's just like fasting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to throw out fasting because I had never fasted before I came to church. I never even heard of it. But we did a fast and I said, I'm going to do it because I wanted to do everything that the church was doing. And it was like a 21 Daniel fast. Yeah. And where you only eat vegetables. And I said, of course I can do that. I can just eat vegetables. 2 days in, I was like, no, I can't. Like, how do people survive on this? Because I'm used to having the meats. I'm used to having the breads, tortillas. Like, I'm used to having all of that. So I think if we are preparing ourselves for that process, then we will be able to we'll be able to accomplish it. But we want to jump into, I'm going to go run 6 miles a day when you don't walk 1 block a day. Like that's just an example that I put out there because I think we do that to ourselves. And it's just, I'm talking to the listeners, like make realistic goals, make realistic vision boards. Are you a person who wants to have financial freedom? Do you have a job? Because we need, for these young kids, like, I want to have financial freedom. Oh, do you have a job? Well, no, because, the right thing hasn't shown up. No, get a job. I don't care if it's at McDonald's. Get a job so then you have money to manage so you can have financial freedom. But it's those little things that I think about. I was like, oh, of course that's not going to happen for you. Like, you're not going to become a doctor if you haven't gone to school. Like, you're just sitting around not doing and just dreaming. Like, we need to put the action behind the faith, right? Before the faith.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say bad habits. They say that statistically, they say it takes 30 days to break a bad habit or to change a habit.
Or create a habit.
Right. So if you take one day at a time to work your way up into 30 days. So if you're going to climb Cowles Mountain.
Exactly.
Just climb maybe a quarter of it. And then come back down and say, you know what, next week I'm going to go another quarter and work your way up into 30 days. And by the 30th day, you'll be at the top of the mountain.
I love that.
And be happy with that.
Because you accomplished it.
Right.
Because we did it. It was a goal that you set up, but you did it.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think setting unrealistic for yourself is you setting yourself up to fail.
Well, maybe not doing like a yearly vision board or yearly, let's say, New Year's plan or New Year's resolution, but make it month to month or day to day. I think honestly, day to day. To be honest with you, if you want to work your way to financial freedom, like you said, get a job. So today I'm going to focus on getting a job, and then tomorrow, hopefully, I have some interviews and so forth, and eventually have money to manage. But day by day,
day by day.
Yeah, for sure, you got to work towards it because I heard this said. I don't know if they said it the exact same way, but a dream without legs is frustration. So you could dream and want, but if you ain't adding legs to that thing, you're just gonna sit in frustration and maybe even end up in depression.
Yeah, and say things don't work out, and then resolutions don't work. Like, really, resolutions don't work, or is it you that's not working?
Yeah. That's so true.
I was going to say, instead of now yearly, we're going to do daily resolutions.
There you go. Write them on your plan.
Yeah, and I think that there's maybe a gauge where it's not too out of reach, but it's not something that's super easy either.
Oh, yeah.
So there's somewhere in the middle, that sweet spot where you're still chasing something. And even if, like I said, you can't get that 100%, if you're hitting 75% of what you're striving for, you're winning, you know, because at least those 75%, those are those legs that we're talking about.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
working towards something, you know, so unrealistic goals, I guess every person's going to have to determine what that is for them.
What that is for them, yeah. And I know some people are going to say, but if God for me, who can be against me? Well, faith without works is
dead.
just dead. Yeah. So, yeah, God is for you, but God is also that resume that you sent out and you got that phone call back and you said, no, I didn't really want that job. Well, that's God in action while you're just sitting there not doing much.
Yeah, he's not going to show up for the interview
Right.
for
You
you.
always have to make the first step.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
then he'll follow through.
Exactly. And I
You
love,
follow through.
because we follow through. And I love when it says when you said, Tony, don't make the goal or the vision so easy to accomplish, but don't make it so difficult, because that's where you see God's hand. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not able to accomplish it on my own, and I know that I'm not, but if I start doing the work, I know that he's going to meet me right there. He is not somebody out in the community, not my best friend. It's going to be him.
So do you still think that resolutions are good or bad, or Ida?
I like day-to-day resolutions.
Day-to-day.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like because you know what? Honestly, to keep my joy and how I find my joy is I have to focus on today.
Yeah.
You know, I do have dreams and I do have desires and things that I want to accomplish in the future.
Right.
God willing. But today is more important to me.
Because it's here.
Exactly.
It's
It's
now.
now. So
So actually, thinking about that, because after you said it the second time, would you say that, or maybe this is a better way to do it, for you to have the long-term visions, but take your day-to-day steps to get there?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Because you can do that and have it written down. This is the end goal, but here's my day-to-day that's going to get there.
Yeah.
Because I think still looking forward is important. I think otherwise it's almost like you're driving and you're staring at the steering wheel. You're not looking what's ahead if there's danger. So I think that going through life is just as important. If you're just looking at the dash or your steering wheel, you're going to be in an accident because you're not sure where you're even going. You don't see the exit coming up that you're supposed to get off on to get to that destination. So I think what you're saying is good, but I think that there still needs to be an end goal at least written down or on the forefront of your mind, or a picture or something, so that you could still know what you're chasing through your day-to-day decisions. I think that's a better, healthier
No, I
way to look
agree.
at that.
Yeah.
Well, like we have our dream board in the room, and when our grandson goes in the room, he'll look at it. He'll
Oh.
sit there and stare at
Yeah.
the
I
dream
love it.
board, you know, and he'll see the pictures. And there's one picture that has the picture of the beach and a vacation, a family vacation. And he'll turn around and he still reminds me at certain times. He goes, Grandma, when are we going to get on a plane and go to our beach vacation?
Our beach vacation. That's great.
And so he keeps looking at this. So he's reminding me, Grandma,
Hasn't done it.
we have to do that, you know. So I keep telling him, I said, we need to hurry up and plan a beach vacation
Yeah.
where we have to get on a plane to go to it.
And you mark it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's nice.
So like even with that dream board that she's talking about, I don't know if I would go ahead and recreate a new one or just adjust the one that I already have.
Oh, nice.
I think, you know, because there's still, like she said, there's still some items we're chasing that haven't been accomplished, but I don't want to okay, that
but
was
there has
last
been
year.
stuff we did
Yeah,
accomplish.
Nice.
yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
stuff that's right in the process too.
Yeah.
You know, so I think maybe just adjusting it year to year might even be another way to look at it, instead of that was last year. Let me get a whole new set of because now I have this whole new year.
Right.
Maybe just adjusting it could be another way to go about it,
Right. That's
because
Yeah.
there's still some stuff that we're chasing that we haven't accomplished. But then go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, because I was just thinking a thought, you know, where you say your vision, right? Well, if you look at it this way too, is like every year, if you take your dream board and let's say you didn't accomplish half of what's on there, right? And you're going to go recreate a new dream board, right? And let's say you don't put those things that you had on your last dream board, in a sense, really, what kind of vision is it, you know?
Yeah,
Because
if you're
then it's
okay to
really not,
just move on
it's almost
from it.
like you're okay, you know what? I changed my mind. Now I'm going to do this. Then really, you know, it's almost like, would you say it's wasted time? or
No,
wasted energy in a vision that you knew you were gonna, you're not set to stick with, or your mindset's not, or
You don't have the faith in yourself
Yeah.
that it's going to be accomplished.
that, or it could be something even sadder where you spend more time making this perfect dream board and you put less effort into accomplishing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said, Tony,
Yeah.
readreadjusting the
Yeah.
dream board. Don't change it
I
up.
like that idea a lot. Readjusting. That
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah, because I started thinking about that just for this upcoming year. I was thinking, do I want to redo it? Because I did put a little bit of time into it because I actually did photo
We even
pictures.
put it on a frame.
Yeah,
Really?
framed
Aw.
it, did everything. It looks really good. But I don't know if I want to go spend the time to recreate it or just adjust it. So
Just
that's what I've been
adjust it, yeah.
thinking about.
Well,
Oh, that's great.
I think too though, like, because I've seen you guys' dream board. One of them was the backyard, right, to get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you think about it, too, resolutions take sometimes longer than a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realistically, but
Right.
sometimes we put this pressure like we have to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never thought about like, oh, just revamp it
Yeah.
because sometimes things take longer than you
Yeah,
think it does.
Yeah, maybe you hit hiccups with some of the other things
Yeah.
that you were working on.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
right.
And I like that you said taking baby steps or small steps, because as a social worker, I hated this part of my job was setting up goals for the clients. And they said, Mary, make the long-term goal, but start with the short-term goal. And I was like, oh, I have to come up with all these goals for them. But it was working with the individual. But I realized that the short-term goal will always get you to the long-term goal. So we would set these up like get a house, for example, get a house. Okay, but we have to start the process of getting into a house. So what do they have to do? They first have to get a job. And if they want to do something different, and where do they want to live? So it was doing the small steps first to accomplish the big thing.
Right.
So that I really like the fact that you said that's like, let's take baby steps to get there, but never lose focus on the vision, on the actual, what it is that we want out of life.
Yeah, I think you could even look at it this way, almost like a contractor. Somebody who has this anticipation of this is what I want my house to look like, and they convey it to the architect and so on. They end up having, okay, this is a picture we're looking for. Now let me reverse engineer it to find out how to get there.
Oh, yeah.
So you're remapping it, but going backwards.
Yes.
I think that could be something else that could help in some of these smaller steps to get to the big dreams and goals that you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly.
I don't know if this makes sense, but I was browsing through Facebook, and every so often little testimonials or little clips would come up on maybe even advertisement. And there was this elderly couple, and they had this big, huge backyard, and it says that it took them and it was beautiful. Like it was a garden. It was like honestly one of those dream backyards, that you can just walk through the garden or read a book or, you know what I mean? Put out a blanket and sit in the grass. But it took them 4 years to get that garden. So it started off with nothing. And then 4 years later, they ended up with this really big, beautiful garden.
Right.
But it didn't happen overnight. It was a process.
Oh, yeah. And
everything's a process, I believe.
oh, yes. And like you said, Ida, it's this, you're talking about a beautiful garden, but I also saw something on TV where this guy made a house from bottle caps. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No.
It was the ugliest thing, but he was so proud. He was so proud. He's like, it took me, I don't know how many years, he said, but he was collecting bottle caps. And I don't know if he did a wall or the whole house, but I was like, who does that? But he was so happy. And I said, well, that was his goal. And he accomplished it. And it didn't take him 1 or 2 years. I think it took him excuse me, several years. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's what he wanted. It's what he was looking for. And his vision was that my house was going to be made up of bottle caps. It wasn't perfect or beautiful to me, but to him, it was what he wanted. So I think that's what does it mean to you? I think at the end of the day, what does it mean to you? What is it that you want out of life? And are you going to make those little steps to get there?
Not only that, I think when you're thinking about either a New Year's resolution or vision or goals for your life, make sure that they're yours. And why I'm saying that, sometimes you could be pursuing somebody else's dream that they spoke over you, or they're pointing you in this direction. You're chasing something that maybe your heart's not in.
Yeah.
So I would really evaluate, can you taste what you're really chasing?
I love that,
Are
yeah.
you hungry for what you're really chasing? And is it coming from within you? What's the smirk on your face for, Ida?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
What about if you're married, right? And let's say I have certain visions, or let's say certain dreams, and you may have certain visions or dreams. How do we come together to meet in the middle to where we can both accomplish those different dreams? Because I might have a dream of let's say maybe a certain house.
She wants to go to the
Right.
farmhouse or whatever and milk some cows.
How do we kind of like, and I know you mentioned one time actually where he said, well, we can buy an investment property and it could be the farm, and it could be something we go visit here and there, right? But truthfully, and I'm speaking, I think, on behalf of couples.
Yeah.
How do you, and I'm pretty sure we each individually, spouses have their dreams, and then they have their dreams that they come together that they want to do together. But what about those little dreams maybe that maybe your other half doesn't think is as important as their dream? You know what I mean? But I think it's equally as important.
Yeah. There's a saying for that. I'm so sorry,
No,
Tony.
go
There's
ahead.
a saying for that too. To answer your question, happy wife, happy life.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode.
But there's something that I really feel because, it does. Like, there's
Yeah.
so many, we have desires and dreams
Right.
that we want to accomplish. And I believe,
Your spouse, significant other, yeah.
has them as well. And then we have ones that we have together.
Right.
So and I'm serious about this question,
Yeah.
how do you come and
that
meet in the
agreement,
middle in the
yeah.
agreement to where you can accomplish what each other
Tony was
desires
going to say
or
something.
wants,
I want to
but
hear
go
what he
ahead.
said.
Actually, there's a podcast called Red Letters Podcast. They might have a good answer. No, not that we know everything, but I think to maybe try to take a stab at answering that question, I think that one, it would have to be communicated to each other 100%. But then it would almost go back to the thing that I was saying about maybe you have to reverse engineer it. You have to figure out how these two can be shuffled together to where it is a win-win. Because I think
both,
at the end of the day, there is complementing of both dreams and visions that can come together and collaborate. But I think it's the negotiation on how to get there. But sometimes you might have to go in this direction temporarily, and then we could shoot back to this direction, but we're still moving forward.
Right.
You know what I mean?
like
So
that,
I
yeah.
think that maybe that's the better way to try to attack it, to where you can get to the end goal where you're both at peace and you both feel that you accomplished what you were seeking for. But I think we just, and the other thing that we brought up in the beginning is we have to add legs. Legs require work.
Right.
So we can't just sit back and assume it's going to happen overnight. Just like Ruth mentioned earlier, some things take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Those end goals, those bigger goals are going to take a little bit longer. But once you get there, how satisfying it will be. You know what I mean? And a lot of it's because the reward of your labor, you'll be able to enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
And
you know what, Tony? I also want to mention before we close up, I highly encourage our listeners to read. Pick a book. For this year, if anything, read a book. Something
good.
that you don't know anything about. What led me to look for visions and goals, and what led me to that, it was this book called The Secret. I don't know if you guys have read it.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
They have a movie on it, I think.
Yeah, they have a movie on it.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's back. I read it way back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And I remember thinking it was the best gift I could have given myself, because I actually got it because I heard somebody talk so much about it. But it basically tells you, like, when your heart, Ida, we talked about this earlier, when you think of something, you almost digest it where you want it, and all you think about is that. And what happens? You end up getting that what you desire. And it doesn't, and I love how the book explains it, that it says, well, you have a goal, but in life, there's always going to be detours. And I wasn't expecting this to happen, but I was so close, but something happened. Well, there's our Father that knows us better than anybody else. And that detour had to be there because we weren't prepared for what's coming. So, you see that detour and you're like, this is going to take longer than I expected. But it's because he's building character, like you said earlier, Tony. And we need to have that in order to be able to embrace and take care of that we're going to receive. Because I believe God also knows you deserve it. And you're going to work for it. But don't try to rush to get it because you're not ready to handle this type of responsibility or whatever it is. So he will throw detours in the way. in order for us to continue to build that character and that faith in him first and foremost, and then we will get the desires of our heart. But I highly encourage that if this year you guys could go out and pick up a book, I'm going to do one in
That's real good.
Accounting.
Good advice.
Learning about numbers, because I hate numbers, but I need to know how to do certain things without having to always go to somebody else. So it's going to be a really small book too, but I'm going to get me a book this year, and that's what I want to learn. But I highly encourage you guys, like, go get a book on something you know nothing about and just learn it, because just feeding the mind, I think that really helps. And of course, read your Bible. Like, I really think like most of what I've gotten, what I read in books, believe it or not, challenge me if you will. Oh, I want the listeners to really challenge me. I learned a lot in psychology, but what I ended up, because I went to psychology first and then I went to the Bible second, because that's just the way my life was going. But everything that I've read in the Bible, the books that we have out here, they got that material out of the Bible. So it's like, read your Bible and you're going to see that everything that we need in life to live life, it's already in there.
They just repackaged it.
Exactly. Repackaged it and called it their own.
But
I highly encourage you, if you can't get into the Bible right now, read a book, something you've never read before, because it's challenging your mind and it's challenging you to do something you've never done before.
Yeah, especially if you're not sure in what direction you want to go, or pick up something. And like you said, I think that's a perfect way to start off your new year, is pick up a book and let that help be like a driving force to help you to get to where you're not sure you're going yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So thank you for joining us this week on New Year's resolutions. And as we wrap up this first season, we want to thank you and appreciate you for tuning in, for being a part of this podcast family. We appreciate you. We pray you have a wonderful holidays and a great upcoming year. And come January, we'll be returning with our second season. Thank you so much for everything. And you feel free to contact us on social media and or email info@redletterspodcast.com.
Yes.
.com.
You guys have a happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.